Hey guys, welcome back to 1776 or Bust. So on the table you see the CZ P-10C. Now the reason why I have this gun on the table is because the last time I took this gun out to the range, I actually had quite a bit of problems with it. I had 12 failures out of 50 rounds. Now, at first, I was really annoyed with the handgun because, again, when you go out, you shoot it. And at that point, it already had been tested with at least 500 rounds. So I was just going out to shoot it a little bit more that day and actually run it against the Steyr to see which one I actually liked shooting better. Now, it started off pretty good, but then within a few rounds, I had some failures, and out of 12 failures, 10 of them were actually failure to eject, and 2 more were double feeds. So, of course, I put the gun down. Unfortunately, that day, I wasn't really thinking when I left. So, unfortunately, I didn't have any of the extra springs with me or the factory guide rod and recoil springs. So unfortunately I couldn't switch them out because immediately I knew what the problem was. I was using 115 grain ammo, and unfortunately I was actually using one of the more tense springs that this comes with, and whatever was going on, I think in my opinion had something to do with the spring just having too much tension with it. So what was happening was when the gun was being shot, because the ammo was such a low grain of ammo, 115 grains, with that tension on that spring, the slide was not actually able to go all the way back because the pressures inside were not actually driving that slide back enough, and that spring was so compressed that it would just run the slide super fast back and forth without giving the opportunity for the shell to eject or actually getting a proper feed. So once I came home and I switched out the actual guide rod and the spring, and I'll just show it to you. Actually, let me drop the mag. By the way, the gun has been safety checked before the video. What I did was I actually took out the spring that I had in there and I put this one in here, and this is the gold spring, and this is what they would consider the medium of the 3 springs that it came with. Once I put this spring back in, I was able to run 115 grain with no issues. On top of that, I also brought some carry ammo with me, and I shot that day some of this. This is one of my favorites, the Federal Premium. This right here is 135 grain. It is, again, hollow point, and this is great carry ammo. If you guys are looking for some really good stuff, I really do like the Federal Premium with the low recoil. And then, of course, some more Federal. This is some Hydra Shock. I shot this through at 124 grains as well, and I had absolutely no issues with it. So in my opinion, it really wasn't the gun's fault, and it certainly wasn't the DPM Solutions fault. It was actually human error, and that really boils down to my fault, and I'm going to take responsibility for that. But I will also tell you that there is a lesson to be learned in all of this, and the lesson is definitely going to be, if you decide to go with one of these recoil systems, which in my opinion are excellent, what I would suggest you do is whatever carry ammo you're going to use, make sure you run a battery of through the gun. Now, of course, it's going to be a little more expensive than, just range ammo, but you want to make sure it works. So that's my fault and that's my bad. Keep in mind, I also do carry 115 grain hollow point as well. And, once I had the issues with that, I switched out the spring. It's been able to handle every single round of ammunition that's been put through it up until this point. And I have to say I've been very, very pleased with this handgun, and I've been very pleased with the recoil system. And again, just so if you're aware, if you decide to go with it, make sure you test it, because you want to make sure that it runs the ammo that you're going to be using for self-defense. So that's kind of my fault. Now, getting back to the gun, I actually took this gun out last weekend to the range just to test it, make sure it ran and it was running efficiently with the system. But I did put another 250 rounds through this gun. So right now, this is really fast, quickly approaching almost 1,000 rounds. I have about 750 rounds through the gun. And I have to tell you guys, this gun is just really, really good. It's a really good shooting gun, very accurate, nice shooting pistol, very low recoil. I think CZ really did a great job. And the more I'm shooting this gun, the more I'm really starting to like this gun. As a matter of fact, it is now becoming a very, very usual carry gun for me, as opposed to what I was using in the past a lot, and that was my PPQ. Now, again, has it replaced the PPQ? Not entirely, but it is getting close, guys, because everything about this gun, and as you put more and more ammunition through it, you're going to realize this gun is the real deal, and I've been very happy with this firearm. Now, what I'm going to show you is some range footage so you can see that everything was working. Also, you can see the accuracy, or I guess you could say semi-accuracy, of me shooting the gun. But again, I have to say, guys, this gun was just absolutely phenomenal. Again, I don't worry about it failing on me. Why? Because that had nothing to do with the gun nor the springs. It had something to do with me just not using common sense. So, let that be a lesson. So let's take a look at some of the footage. So in the first clip, what you're going to see me here doing is shooting the first 10 rounds with the gun and the new guide rod and recoil spring in there. I felt that the group was pretty good. It was, not my best, but it's not my worst. But overall, the gun already started off that day just shooting great. So in this clip, what you're going to see here is actually the last 10 rounds of 20 in a row. Unfortunately, I forgot to press record on my camera. Whoops. So you're going to see a group of 20. Again, not too bad. I really felt very good with the gun this day, especially with knowing that the recoil dilemma had been fixed at this point. But yeah, I mean, the P-10 performed wonderfully. So in the final clip, what you're going to see here is the last 10 rounds that I shot for the day. Used a little bit more of a brighter target so I could see what I was doing a little bit better. The place is a little dimly lit, but overall, it wasn't a bad day for shooting. I was very happy and pleased with the results of the P-10 overall, and I think really at this point, the problem has been solved. The gun was flawless, and it was a good day to shoot. So overall, the P-10 really came back with the purpose that day at the range. Again, I can only attribute those failures not to the gun nor the DPM recoil system, but to human error. And it's going to happen, and that's why you train, and that's why you go out and shoot. And that's why whenever you adjust something in your gun and you get the stock parts out and put some custom pieces in, make sure you train, make sure you use it, and make sure you use what you're going to be normally shooting in a self-defense situation. Overall, very pleased with the P-10. Again, if you are on the ledge of whether or not you want to get this gun, guys, I can tell, I honestly totally recommend the gun because it is performing great and it is just getting better every time it goes to the range. Again, I hope you guys enjoyed the review. Hopefully you give us a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't. Also, keep in mind, AbaddonApparel.com. A couple more days left of the CZ Mafia for Life t-shirts are available. So go out and get yourselves one. Please help CMAX. Please support them. And of course, if you get an opportunity, continue to watch our live chats every Wednesday. We'll be having one very soon. So I hope you guys have a great night. Always stay safe. And as always, freedom is never free.